Welcome back to All Day on Fox 9. On Wednesday, a jury in New York found that Live Nation and its subsidiary, Ticketmaster, we're all familiar with Ticketmaster, acted as a monopoly and overcharged customers. So what does that mean? To talk more about what it might mean for concertgoers, for all of us who buy tickets, who use Ticketmaster, etc., we're bringing in antitrust lawyer Aaron Gott to discuss more of this. Hey, thanks for being with us here, because this is obviously a complicated legal topic for many of us.
Great to be here.
What does this verdict mean? Again, this is in New York, and this was 33 states plus the District of Columbia in a suit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster, saying a monopoly. A jury agreed. What does this mean?
So Live Nation was found civilly liable for two things. First, monopolization. Live Nation and Ticketmaster willfully monopolized ticketing at major concert venues by controlling a trifecta of ticketing, promotions, and venues. Second, Live Nation was found to have illegally tied two products and services. Artists must use Live Nation's promotional services to book at its major amphitheaters. Mm-hmm. And so what it's doing is bundling something that the artists don't necessarily want with something that they need.
Yeah, and I know, there's a lot of control over these venues, and then they say that then you must use Ticketmaster, which they own, for the ticket sales. And as you mentioned, the promotion here, it seems like that is sort of the poster child for monopoly and for antitrust cases. I mean, was this pretty crystal clear, or what are the gray areas here that brought this to trial?
I think it's pretty clear, and this was originally a case brought by the Department of Justice Antitrust Division, and the Antitrust Division settled partway into the case. Plus, you've got the 33 states and D.C. I think it was pretty crystal clear.
So, the question for any of us here, what happens to the artists, but then what happens to those concert goers? I mean, ultimately, would this potentially make concert tickets cheaper, or what does this change?
Well, the short answer is maybe, but not anytime soon. The next step in this case is there will be a remedies phase. The judge will decide what remedies to impose beyond damages. It could be divestiture. It could be canceling exclusive agreements with the amphitheaters. It could be, and what the states are pushing for, a full breakup of Live Nation and Ticketmaster.
So in essence, it could ultimately come to a place where Live Nation has to sell Ticketmaster and separate.
Correct. And to be clear, this isn't going to happen quickly. The process takes a while. And even after the court decides on what remedies, it's going to take some time before that filters down to consumers.
What is there anything that you do to explain to people what's going on? I mean, there are historic examples of antitrust cases against other major kind of conglomerates. Is there anyone that comes to mind for you that you would tell people historically this is a company that was forced to do the same thing?
So if the states get what they're pushing for, a breakup, that's really uncommon.
Yeah.
The last one that I can really think of was Microsoft in the late 90s, and that ultimately didn't happen. That process took a number of years, and there were a lot of proceedings that happened even after it was found that Microsoft had monopolized markets.
I kind of remember too. I mean, this goes back decades, but it was it AT&T and the baby bells and all that with the phone companies back in the landline days, where they were forced to separate as well. Am I remembering that correctly?
You are. It's a little bit before my time, but that certainly occurred too.
Yeah, and so a lot of this is you don't want one company to control every aspect of something. So again, in this issue, it'll take time to see if this could make tickets cheaper. We don't really know exactly are there refunds for tickets that people have already purchased?
It's unlikely that anybody sees a refund from this particular verdict. States brought this suit as the overseers of the citizens of their state. state law does dictate what happens to that money. It depends on the state. Usually it just goes into the state's general fund. So it's unlikely that anybody sees a direct refund from this. And even if they did, the verdict found something like $1.72 in overcharge for a single ticket.
Pretty small.
Yeah. I do think one thing to point out, I said the DOJ had settled this case a week into trial. That settlement, if it's approved by the court, will have an effect on tickets, presumably as soon as it goes into effect. And that's a provision that requires Live Nation and Ticketmaster to cap fees at 15%. If you've bought tickets recently, you know that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it would be a big deal. It seems like, certainly the economics in the record industry have changed, where they're making more money on concerts and less money on the albums. That's a flip-flop from the way it was years ago, where concerts were cheap because that's how they promoted the records, and that's where they made all the money, and that's kind of flipped around. So, but you see a lot of those extra fees then that get tacked in there that drive up those concert tickets even more. So that could be potentially a change.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah. What are you going to be watching for going forward? I mean, how long is this going to be playing out, do you think?
It's really hard to predict how long these things will take. The structural remedies ordered by the court in the Google case took, I believe, around a year after there was a actual finding of monopolization. Microsoft, like I said before, took a number of years. So it's really hard to say, but it's not going to be in 2026, I don't think.
This isn't something that's going to have immediate impacts, something that continues to play out. Well, appreciate you joining us to try to break down what is complicated parts of the law, and that is antitrust. But we'll see what the significance of this is. The headline seems pretty significant. The ripple effects are yet to be seen. All right. Thanks so much, antitrust attorney Aaron Gott, joining us to explain this.